Hello and welcome to See If It Sticks, the only podcast. That was a long pause, wasn't it? The only long pause that takes a long pause to the podcast. The only podcast that takes a long pause before it tells you that it is a podcast that takes your first world problems and finds some tasty first world solutions. I'm your host for this week, Dom.
And I am Dan.
That was a long pause. It's only us two this week. Ross is off somewhere.
He's in the motherland.
I don't know what? The motherland.
He's back in Hobbiton.
Back in Hobbiton.
I don't know why he's a Hobbiton.
Smoking some pipe weed and having some very large dinners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second breakfast.
Second breakfast, mate. I have second breakfast.
You have second breakfast, or you would have?
Mate, if I can afford to do so, I have second breakfast.
Nice.
So online you can Google it, like all the different Hobbit meals.
Is second breakfast basically just brunch?
So you have breakfast when you normally have breakfast before you go to work time.
Yeah.
And then second breakfast is like 11. So it's like 11s.
11s. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like 11s.
We have an 11s at work where we have a coffee.
Yeah, I have 11s.
We have
That's second breakfast.
Coffee upon arrival, then coffee at 11.
Yeah, but in Hobbit land, like second breakfast is a full-on second breakfast.
When I worked on building sites, 11s was always a coffee and half of my sandwich.
Yeah. 11 o'clock tea break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that, well, it's funny because I was under the impression that 11s isn't kind of like a universal thing. Like when I've said 11s to people before, they go, what?
I don't think a lot of people do know about 11s and they're poorer for it.
I wholeheartedly believe that.
Yes, they're poorer for it.
We should start a campaign.
What 11s is?
11s is for all.
11s is for all. Make everybody a little bit happier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need that. You need that at that time of the morning, I think.
Just to keep you going.
Yeah, because like that stretch towards lunch is not long, usually. And that is probably the quickest part of the day because I think that the afternoon drags a little bit.
I always have one thing. I'm good in the mornings. I'm good in the evenings. Afternoons.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah, I'm very much the same.
My brain just doesn't work.
But I think, if you kind of like pepper little tea breaks in the morning there with the 11s and, brekkie, and then you sort of get on your lunch, it sort of spurs you on for the afternoon because you think, well, it's not all bad. It might be a long afternoon, but, I had a really good morning full of food.
Full of food and
coffee.
tea. Be fantastic, wouldn't it? Actually, I'm going to get that Hobbit thing up.
The one so this describes all of their meals,
all their meals
throughout the day. So I'm interested to see how close to a day on a building site this is, because there's not to say that all building sites are full of slackers, but
here you go.
You do like to take a nice tea break.
So you have breakfast 7 a.m. Second breakfast is 9 a.m. They have 11s at 11 a.m.
Oh,
lunch is 1 p.m. Afternoon tea 3 p.m. Dinner at 6 p.m. Supper at 9 p.m.
Supper as well. Like I've never been in a family that has supper.
I'm a big fan of supper.
We used to have supper a lot when we had like Christmas around my nan's house. We'd always have like the big roast dinner in the afternoon, and then about 7 o'clock in the evening had some supper. Lots of pre-buttered bread and cold meat.
Yes.
Salad.
Celery,
always celery with a bit of salt.
Crackers.
Yes.
Yeah. Preserves and
goodness me, yeah.
Supper.
Cheese and pickle.
Do you know what? I do a bit of
although I
supper
don't eat
occasionally.
pickle.
My own version of supper. Like I'll have my dinner.
So you just stick your fingers in Marmite.
Yeah. No, I'll have my dinner, and then in the evening I'll probably have a sandwich late.
Nice.
Because I do get hungry before bed. I can't sleep if I'm hungry.
Ooh, you have nightmares though.
No.
Oh, you don't. No. Mind you don't have cheese, do you? You don't eat cheese.
Don't have cheese.
Lucky.
That's it.
Dom's never had a nightmare.
Oh, I've had nightmares.
It's because he doesn't eat cheese.
But I don't eat cheese.
For me, not eating cheese is a nightmare.
Well, there you go. I'm living your nightmare.
Yeah. Speaking of nightmares.
Yes.
We did a podcast a little while ago where we discussed glitter.
Yes.
Do you remember that? Where we tried to abolish glitter because it kind of got everywhere. Well, I'm adding a little bit more credence to the glitter argument this week.
Oh, yes.
I've seen, I saw an article the other day The title of which is Scientists Call for a Ban on Glitter. Say it's a global hazard.
Is it to do with like similar things to be like plastic microbeads or something like that?
Correct. Yeah, it's only a short article, but it does have some citations in here, so we're good. So arts and crafts enthusiasts have known for years that glitter tends to attach itself everywhere and never seems to come off, as discussed on this very podcast.
It is the worst thing ever.
I would like to believe that we brought that to the attention of the scientists.
Yeah, they can cite us in their peer-reviewed journals.
Scientists now say the sticky decorations are an ecological hazard that needs to be banned across the globe. Environmental scientists are arguing that the risk of pollution, specifically to the oceans, is too great to ignore, and the tiny plastic particles need to be outlawed. Maybe I should do a funny voice here. I think that all glitter should be banned because it's a microplastic. Dr. Tricia Farelli, totally off on the impression there. Dr. Tricia Farelli of New Zealand's Massey University said, microplastics are defined as plastics that are less than 5 millimeters in length. The small size of the craft supply reportedly makes glitter appealing for many animals who eat the dangerous objects. A study by Professor Richard Thompson claimed that the plastics were found in a third of all fish caught in Great Britain.
Blimey.
I was quite concerned when somebody brought my daughters some shower gel that had glitter particles in it, Thompson said. That stuff is going to escape down the plug hole and potentially enter the environment. Some British nurseries have already banned the products from their facilities, as the country is expected to officially ban items that contain microbeads in 2018. There are 22,000 nurseries in the country, so if we're all getting through kilos and kilos of glitter, we're doing terrible damage, Director of the Tops Dane Nurseries, Cheryl Hadland, told the BBC. In America, only 7 states have passed legislation to restrict the use and sale of microbeads in products such as facial scrubs and body washes. California became the first place to ban the products in 2015. So there we go. Get that glitter out.
Out with the glitter.
Down with glitter. Up with our solution.
Whatever the solution was. It was like some sort of paste or something.
Something like that.
Bioluminescence.
Bioluminescence, that's what it was.
That's right, you could inject yourself with bioluminescence.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Genetically alter your makeup instead of...
Stop killing the fish with your glitter and start farming jellyfish for their bioluminescent properties.
Exactly. Have jellyfish farms. Left, right and centre.
Yeah.
I could be a jellyfish farmer. That's right, I'm a jelly farmer. I've been farming jellies on this land since 2025.
I've got a new affinity for the ocean, whereas before, I hate the ocean.
Yes, it is a well-known fact that you do not get in the ocean.
I do not like the sea.
Except for when I push you out in a boat and row you out and then start rocking the boat.
Yep. Or when I was really drunk that time in Greece when I jumped off the side of a boat.
Ah, yes.
But as we were kind of discussing before we went to record this podcast, that we've both been watching Blue Planet 2 recently.
Which, according to article I saw today, so has everyone else.
Yes, yeah.
It's probably apparently the most watched thing this year.
That does not surprise me because obviously those kind of David Attenborough BBC nature documentaries are just so fantastic.
They are.
But yeah,
the only reason I think the license fee is worth paying.
Yeah, you might be right. But the thing is, though, I was listening to, this is old sort of news now, but I was listening to Brian Cox talk to Joe Rogan the other day.
Oh, right.
This is from a couple of years ago. But, Brian Cox was sort of singing the praises of BBC because, what he was kind of saying is that BBC still sort of hammer home this sort of traditional way of programming where you put something on which is just widely popular, your Strictly Come Dancing or, which is sort of Dancing with the Stars in the US. Yeah. Something of that ilk that is kind of just, mindless programming. And then afterwards, they tend to put on your nature documentaries or programs about science or news or history and stuff like that. And according to him, the idea of doing it like that is that, you probably won't switch off the TV straight away after you've watched your mindless drivel. So then what comes on afterwards, might just hook your interest in the first 5 minutes and then you might sit there and fucking learn something.
Yeah.
Which is sort of...
In that way, it's good.
Good
but
idea.
In other ways, I fucking hate it. I never watch anything on the BBC other than occasionally the news and...
Peaky Blinders?
I've never watched Peaky Blinders. I've heard it's very good.
It is very good. Yeah.
And it's one of those things on Dom's massive list of shit.
Yeah, everyone's got one.
I couldn't be fucked to watch.
We solved that a couple of episodes ago too.
Yeah. Basically, if you can name a modern TV show, I've probably not watched it. I checked out of like keeping up with TV around The Wire, and now I just sort of watch things when I can. Like most recently, I've watched both seasons of The Expanse, and that's very good.
I've heard that.
A sci-fi show on Netflix. I would recommend it. But yeah, I just sort of tend to... I don't watch Stranger Things season 2. I do like Stranger Things. But I'm not up on any of the Marvel stuff. Haven't watched The Punisher, haven't watched Defenders. Didn't watch Jessica Jones. Watched the first season of Daredevil. It's just too much. Yeah,
there's a lot going on.
There's too much.
But you have been finding time to watch Blue Planet too, which is important.
Well, it's good to watch with your tea in the evening.
Mate, I just the stuff they come out with on these shows just never ceases to amaze me. There was today I was watching the most recent one, and there are these sea lions. Have you watched the most recent one?
With the tuna.
See, they chase tuna up.
I only watched that bit, but yeah.
And they bloody like corral them.
It was so clever.
Up into the shallow parts, and what they essentially do is beach the tuna fish. Because if they went around catching regular fish, that they would have to eat constantly. They catch like a 60-kilo tuna, and that's their food. They're absolutely huge.
And they're expending less energy doing it as well, because they're not swimming around really fast trying to catch them.
Yeah.
They're sort of corralling them in. It's just basically, it's how intelligence, you find a more energy efficient way to catch or produce food.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just amazing. I watch things like that, and I think we claim to be the most intelligent beings on the planet, but then you just see like just remarkable sort of intelligence from these things. I mean, it's obviously in a different way. Like we haven't got to go around catching fish like that these days. We stick a line in the ocean. We've developed our own ways to do it. Clearly we are top of the food chain. But still, like, you kind of don't think that what is essentially a dog mixed with a fish it's kind of has the presence of mind to like one day one of them has done that, and the rest of them for God knows how long have thought, fucking hell, like, Dave's just gone and caught a 60-kilo tuna. He's not going to have to catch any fish for the next month. And so the rest of them do it now, and they they work in teams to like to.
Do you know what? One of the best things I've ever seen of that, I think it was in Blue Planet 1, and it's this pod of orcas in like Canada.
Yeah.
And I mean, all these orcas, all these different pods, they all have really interesting ways they do it. Like in the most recent season of Blue Planet, the one that's just gone, they were like pushing the herring up to the top, weren't they? And then just twatting them with their tails.
Yeah. They really whack them, don't they? It stuns them.
Yeah, it stuns them, and then they just go. Op, 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 op. But this pod of orcas, what they would do is they would surround this school of fish, get them all together in that big shifting, mesmerizing ball of scales and flashing, and then they
ball of terror. For me.
And then they would basically do this, right? So they're going like that, and then there was huge like ring of water would encapsulate all these fish, and basically all these orcas would go boosh, 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 like an air cannon. But in the water, and all these rings and it would just keep on pushing the fish further and further up to the top, and then basically they're creating a net out of sound waves of water. And they would just go in and eat the fish.
It's fucking incredible, isn't it?
But it was just the sound they were making. It was so weird. It sounded like a laser gun powered up. It was literally like like that, and it was just this huge thing would just come out this orcas. I was like, am I watching some sort of fantasy
show? It's like a fucking Pokemon
It's like
attack.
magic. Like bubble beam. I don't know, it's like some sort of fucking magic these fucking giant black and white dolphins were doing. But yeah, it was really magical.
Fucking hell, that's crazy, isn't it? Like just some of the things they do. The same episode, the most recent one, you got I find these amazing anyway, but the sea turtles.
Oh yeah,
they migrate these female sea turtles migrate 10,000 miles back
to the beach
to the same beach that they were born on, and they've clearly they've gone all out with the drones on these new seasons of Planet Earth and Blue Planet. Like the thing is panning up across the beach, and initially there's sort of like 50 or 60 on the beach, and looking at that, it's in Costa Rica. You kind of think, whoa, and then it keeps going up, and there's hundreds of them, and then it keeps going up, and the entire beach, there's 10,000 of them, thousands of these sea turtles, and I just think, oh my, like. And they're fucking prehistoric.
Yeah.
It's turtles and alligators and stuff like that. They are prehistoric. You look at them and you are looking into the past.
Well, same as sharks, isn't it? They're pretty much unchained for the
you're just
few million years.
like some things you can just tell. Like you can look at sort of like a gorilla or a chimpanzee or something, and you can look and it's got sort of like I think it's because I suppose it's closer to what we know in everyday life, and you can look at that and you can go, okay, I can see that has existed on the planet for a little while, but like you just look at something like a turtle or an alligator or, as you say, like a shark, and you just think, like, you can, like, without knowing anything, you can just look at it and go, Jesus Christ, like
that's an old design.
That must it's an old code, sir, but it checks out.
The oldies are still the goodies.
Yeah. Fucking hell. And just
like the coelacanth, they found, I don't know, it's one of those, that's always the example of a living fossil you find, because they thought they were all died out millions of years ago. It's a fish. It looks like it's made out of rocks,
Yeah.
And it still exists, and that looks fucking ancient. Do you know what I mean? Like these creatures.
Yeah.
It's really quite interesting.
Fascinating.
Do we have a problem?
We do have a problem.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's...
The Dan picks up his phone.
Sorry, I just have the loads up. This is from, we've got no location given, but I'm sure it's somewhere extremely exotic. From Turtle Beach in Costa Rica. Let's just pretend. This is from, his name is Alex Banner, or her. Could be a
her.
And he or she, they say, my room is often slightly too hot, which makes my water a little too warm.
That is a little bit annoying. I'm trying to think of something other than put ice in your drink. But even if you put ice in your drink, it's going to melt eventually and it's going to warm up.
The reason that I brought this one to the table this week is because I have been in this exact same situation.
Yeah.
And the problem is that is when you leave it for sort of an extended period of time. So my room gets exceptionally hot, and I don't quite know why. I think that probably the plumbing below the room is because there's a hot spot on my floor.
I've always thought your room gets very hot, as I've slept in there a number of times. Not in the bed with you, but on the floor.
You've slept in there a number of times. Slept in the bed with me a few times.
Yes. Is that your room's relatively well packed with stuff, isn't it?
It's got a lot of stuff in there.
There's not a lot of floor space available. Yeah. There's a lot of electrics in there.
A lot of electronics.
It's very insulated in that respect.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of places for the heat to escape.
Yeah.
But I imagine it coalesces quite a lot.
Yeah, it gets very, very hot, particularly if the door is closed. And, like I can put ice in a drink, say, a whiskey. I know someone. I'm sure someone's gonna like get in contact and go, "You shouldn't put ice in whiskey," but I like it, so fuck you.
Nothing wrong with having a whiskey on the rocks,
but just rock for me. I just do the one. Usually, but I put ice in there, and within 20 minutes, it's gone. And in the summer, you can make a cold drink and put ice in it, but it does melt. And then if it's sort of left there, say like overnight.
Yes.
I'm a person who sleeps with a massive pint of squash next to my bed. And usually at some point during the night, I wake up a little bit parched, and there's nothing that I can think of better than reaching over and drinking an ice cold drink that I prepared shortly before bed. But it's always fucking warm.
Lukewarm.
Yeah.
It's not even warm, it's lukewarm.
Yeah, it's lukewarm.
It's not hot squash, it's lukewarm squash.
Yeah. It's enough to get that in the back of your throat.
That chalkiness.
Yeah, nasty.
Here's an idea.
Go on.
So they do this for like cans, right? Like those little jackets
Oh, yeah.
are like
insulating jacket.
yes,
Yeah.
something like that, or maybe like a cold pack that's insulated from the outside. You know, wrap round it, keep it cool.
I think a sort of a secondary issue for this kind of thing is that when you have a cold drink in a hot room, you get the moisture on the outside of the glass.
Yes,
and
slippery.
I can't tell you the amount of times I have, in the middle of the night, in the pitch black, picked up my nice glass of squash and then felt a coaster tumble into the darkness, which I then need to find and pick up before I put my squash back on my counter.
I don't know why, but in my head,
Counter? Yes, I've got a kitchen counter in my bedroom. Bedside table.
Do you know what song I just had in my head when I imagined that coaster going to the floor? It's doing it in slow motion. You know that. I think it's like Enya or something like that. And just hitting the floor and you're going, no!
It's a little bit like that. But then, the coaster falls down and I think, oh, I've got to find that fucking coaster.
Yeah, it's annoying.
It's annoying. So, I mean, I think my ideal solution to this problem would be something which isn't going to create moisture in the room, further moisture in the room as well.
Well, how about this?
Go on.
How about in your kitchen, you have a number of receptacles, say.
Okay.
I don't know.
Glasses?
Tanks.
Oh, tanks.
Tanks in the wall that you can fill up with any beverage of your choice. And they're chilled. And so you can have different points in the house, one of which could be a little tube by your bed. You just wake up in the night and just take a little tug.
I actually really like that.
Yeah, hydration stations, right?
I would love that.
Yeah, right. And like you could set them up wherever you wanted. You know, it'd be like a sort of customizable thing. Doesn't have to be. You could have like 2 in your room. Obviously you could still make yourself a glass of squash if you really wanted to, which would be in the kitchen. But these would be for those sort of moments where you can't really go down. You don't really want to go downstairs or something like that. Maybe at your desk, in your room or whatever. If you've got a study, whatever.
Do you know what this would be a really good idea for as well? It would be a really good idea for like parties.
Yeah.
Because what you could do is you could fill one up with beer and one up with some choice of wine or whatever you wanted, or cocktail maybe. And then what you could do is you could kind of give everyone like when if you go to a bar or a restaurant or whatever and they've got shisha.
Yeah, you get
your own like tip.
Yeah.
You could give everyone one of those. Obviously not a plastic straw though, because those are terrible for the environment.
Yes. Maybe something made out of chrome.
So yeah, something reusable. Like you could bring your own one round. You could get customizable ones, like a belt buckle or I don't know. That sort of thing. You could bring your own one round if you wanted.
Yeah, man. You could be like,
because you could just attach it. If you had that going, like feeding like an entire house, like you could literally put it in anywhere. Like obviously the more wealthy people have it in every bathroom, and office and everything. A little bit like someone's rich when they've got a telephone in the bathroom. Ah, yes. Like that. But you could stand there having a poo in the morning and drink a beer. The only thing, I suppose the only downside is that if it was beer, it would drinking sort of like carbonated drinks through a
you could do it
straw. Sometimes not.
You could do it.
But yeah. What you could do is for the beer ones, you could have like a little, you could have another attachment that goes at the end, like a tap.
Tap, yeah.
And then you could just pour the damn thing, into a glass,
just like a beverage, what they call it, delivery system.
Yeah, goes around the whole house. I love this idea.
BDS.
I love this idea. I was going to go for like something like you have like cups that had some sort of cooling system in them, and then you had like a wireless coaster, like when you put it on it continually cooled and mixed the drink. But this is such a better idea because I'm just thinking of all of the
applications.
Yeah.
You
could put anything in there.
You could. You can put cowpole in there if your kid's sick. With like
what happens? My son drank 3 litres of Cowbell.
with like a dosage thing on it.
Yeah, you could do. Yeah,
You could just have these in your walls. So like, say at the back of your kitchen counter. Imagine your kitchen, right?
Yeah.
At the back of that kitchen counter in the long bit of your
yeah,
kitchen. Yeah.
yeah.
You just press a button and the wall goes. Zzz, you could just slip them out, refill them, give them a clean.
You could put in like concentrates like they do in pubs, where you get like the Coke syrup or whatever. You could have like an orange
You could have
one.
soup in there.
Oh my god, this is such a good idea.
You're ill. Chicken soup in the beverage delivery system.
Just sup it through.
Sup it through. Bit of chicken soup always makes you feel better.
Great idea. What you could do is you could do like like you get like smart home things now where you can get like a plug and it monitors how much energy you're using.
Yeah.
You could like get like smart versions of it, so you could see like how many glasses of wine you've had, how many beers you've had,
and it could
whether you've had enough fluids for the day.
Yes.
That could be on the tip. Like
it could have a little beep, beep, beep like a little Fitbit.
Which it just be, like a little Bluetooth thing, syncs to your phone, and it it comes up, vibrates, and says, "Dan, you've had 3 litres of wine."
Yeah, or blip blip blip, Dom, you're down a litre of water today.
You
really drink another litre of water.
Have you been drinking water throughout the day? Yeah. Oh my god, this is a great idea. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, because it's like in hospitals where they have the integrated systems for all like the gas lines, stuff like that. So they just basically plug it into the wall.
Yeah.
As opposed to having to lug bottles of gas in.
Modular, man. Modular is the future. Modular homes. Modular everything. Just snap
great
together.
Because if you had like more people, if you had loads of people around and everyone wanted to you could have 4-way things and it's such a good idea.
Yeah, right.
I really enjoy this.
Good, I'm glad. I thought it would tickle your pickle.
It's solved.
Solved.
I was saying that's fucking solved. It's going to be a short podcast this week, but that is solved.
That is solved. There's one less of us, so,
Yeah, exactly. If each of us talks for 15 minutes, and usually we do 45 minutes, this is almost exactly dead on.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Amazing. Yeah, love it.
What are we going to name it? Unky Dom's patented hydration stations. The tragic case of the fallen coaster.
Well, because we were talking about Blue Planet, we could call it Coaster to Coaster.
Oh, I like that. Coaster to Coaster. That would be good, actually. That is a banker right there.
Yeah.
See if we can come up with anything better. Probably not, but let's have a think for just another 30 seconds or so.
Just to bump it up to 30 minutes.
Yeah. Vamp, Dan, vamp.
Is that your stomach?
Yes, it was. I'm very
Are you hungry? I'm hungry
dinner.
too. My lunch today was 1 banana and 2 slices of Marmite toast.
My lunch today was leftover paella from yesterday.
Paella.
With very spicy chorizo in it.
Ooh,
very
nice.
Spicy chorizo. Very nice. Congratulations to my mother for making another stand-up meal.
Did you have to get into a pack and hunt the chorizo sausage, ground it?
Well, we went up into the sky and made them land. Because as you know, chorizo flies.
Yes, yeah. The noble chorizo bird.
The noble chorizo bird. We're calling it coast to coast.
Isn't it funny that when you pluck the feathers, it's still got that layer of sausage skin?
Yeah, I know. It's very odd. Right.
Very long bird.
Very long bird. Very red bird.
Yeah, very red.
Yeah. Right. So I believe the episode is now called Coaster to Coaster.
Yes.
Right. So if you want to get into contact with us, please do it through our website, stickitpod.com, where you can find links to our Facebook, Twitter, all of our social media. Send us your problems, your complaints, your triumphs, your losses. Your tragedies are our tragedies.
Your favourite episodes of David Attenborough documentaries
will also be our favourite episodes of David Attenborough documentaries, because they're all my favourites.
Yeah, yes.
If you want to email us as well, we have an email at flingit@stickitpod.com. That's flingit@stickitpod.com. For this week, I've been your humble and most vivacious host, Dominic.
And I have been Dan. Oh shit, I wrote dolphin, but it was supposed to be orca.
Oh, sorry, right. Ross, cut that dolphin out and just put